Now, of course, this comes with numerous disclaimers. There are probably things here that you can find in other IDEs, but in the switch from Komodo over to PHPStorm, these are the things that I find that I'm liking. First of all, projects are scanned really quickly in comparison. It seems like when I spin up a new project, I'm able to perform auto-completion based on existing classes and functions really fast, and able to jump to definitions of functions and variables almost right away. There's some really good search options, so you can search for file name across the entire project. You can do a general search, which will search for file name or even class name or object, and it will sort according to the likelihood that the match is relevant to you. So it will sort by files that you've opened up recently, for example. And it also has a good and fast search across all of the files in a project, similar to what you do with grep on the command line, but there's a lot of visualization that can help you narrow down what you want, as well as a sub-search, so you can search elements that you've already searched for. Now, if you've worked with Drupal 7 and Drupal 6, but you haven't really done any object-oriented programming, then this might not mean a lot to you, but as you start to work with Drupal 8 it will. There's really good tracing options for inheritance. So when you're trying to figure out what methods are available for a particular class, for example, based on classes that it inherits from, or if you want to know if a particular method is an override of existing methods inside of parent classes, there's inline icons in PHPStorm that tell you exactly when that's happening. And as I just mentioned, the search is really valuable. You can search across a project or in a particular folder, and there's tons of search options. You can expand the options to see all of the matches. When you click on a match, you can see a preview of that match in a file without actually having to open the file. You'll see me use a lot in the next videos. As I mentioned before, you can search within search results, which is crazy useful, and you can organize search results according to file, according to directory, and several other options. Throughout this series, I've been using a program called Kaleidoscope to do our file comparison. It's a very useful tool, but one of the things that it lacks is good syntax highlighting. In PHPStorm, there's a file comparison tool that will do the syntax highlighting for you. So from here on out, we're going to be using the PHPStorm syntax highlighting. And you can compare from different sources, including your clipboard. So you can choose two files and compare those, or you can choose a file and your clipboard to compare those. If you're using Git for version control, PHPStorm will show you in the gutter that is right to the left-hand side of the code exactly what changes have been made in a file compared to the last committed version of that file. And from that gutter, you can select specific lines that you want to revert. This can be really handy if you're playing around trying to get something to work, and you do, but then you realize that you've left all this crufty code behind. You can see exactly inline what the changes are that you've made and remove anything that's not going to be useful. So when you're trying to figure out where a command statement starts and ends, like an if-then or a for loop, you can select the bracket and easily see where the matching bracket is. There's actually a line that's drawn between them. There's useful alerts that pop up over the editor that tell you when something might not be configured properly. In fact, there's a lot of this. When you're setting up configuration, for example, get your debugger set up, you'll get these errors that will actually have links to the place that you need to go to modify the configuration to solve the problem. There have been several times where these alerts have popped up, and they've also supplied the right context for me to go in and solve the problem. In the right-hand scroll bar, if you look at a file and hover over the scroll bar, you'll see that as we go through these videos, there's a preview of the file at that place, and you can see it in kind of this hover over window. This allows you to look at a context without losing your place in the file. And finally, this is a little thing, but when you use a use statement, as we have in the previous object-oriented videos, and you begin to type out a namespace, it will autocomplete for you. And this is really valuable because sometimes those namespaces can be really long and you only know parts of it. Well, that autocomplete can help you get to the point that you need to. You can even type the class name, and it will offer options in various namespaces that match that class. Okay, so these are just a few things that I really like. There's no way to exhaustively go over all of the benefits of an IDE, but if you're in the market to consider switching over, or you're unsatisfied with the program that you're using now, definitely consider looking at PHPStorm. This isn't a paid endorsement or anything. I've just been really happy with it so far. And I just wanted to explain why I'm making this shift after 4 years of using Komodo on